Welcome back to our channel, Soap Fans. Today is a beautiful day to dive into the latest explosive drama straight from Los Angeles. We have massive updates that will change everything. Grab your coffee and brace yourselves, because the fallout from the latest Forrester and Spencer clash is nothing short of catastrophic. Let's get straight into the heart-stopping action. A single, reckless punch thrown in the heat of a crowded bar has just shattered the foundations of the Forrester empire, transforming a bitter fashion rivalry into a catastrophic fight for survival. This was never just about a stolen design or a bruised ego. This was a collision of fate, a violent reckoning decades in the making that has finally brought the Forrester and Spencer dynasties to the brink of absolute, irreversible destruction. The blood has been spilled, and the consequences are lethal. The sterile, blindingly white corridors of a Los Angeles hospital now serve as the grim battleground for a family war that has spiraled entirely out of control. The glamorous world of haute couture, flashing cameras, and runway triumphs has been violently stripped away, replaced by the terrifying, rhythmic beeping of life support machines. Behind those heavy ICU doors lies Eric Forrester, the legendary patriarch, the titan of the fashion industry, fighting a desperate battle for his very life. The hands that sketched 1,000 masterpieces, the mind that built an international empire from the ground up, have been brutally compromised by the reckless rage of a Spencer. The scent of antiseptic hangs heavy in the air, a sickening contrast to the expensive perfumes normally associated with the Forrester clan. Every second that ticks by on the hospital clock feels like an eternity, an agonizing countdown to a devastating truth. The tension in the waiting area is suffocating, a pressure cooker of grief, rage, and agonizing uncertainty. Ridge Forrester paces the linoleum floor like a caged tiger, his tailored suit wrinkled, his jaw clenched so tight it looks ready to shatter. Steffi Forrester Finnegan stands frozen, a statue of pure, unadulterated fury, her eyes fixed on the double doors leading to the intensive care unit. Donna Logan Forrester sits crumpled in a plastic chair, her face buried in her hands, her sobs echoing through the empty hallway. This is the tragic tableau of a family pushed to the absolute edge. The fashion war with Logan Designs means nothing now. The stolen collections, the boardroom betrayals, the runway rivalries, all of it has been eclipsed by the horrifying reality that their beloved patriarch might never walk out of this hospital alive. The stakes have never been higher, and the impending fallout will spare absolutely no one. The heavy doors finally swing open, and Dr. Lee Finnegan steps into the hallway. Her face is an impenetrable mask of clinical professionalism, but her eyes betray the sheer gravity of the situation. Lee is a mother who knows the terror of almost losing a loved one. She understands the devastating weight of the words she is about to speak. She approaches the Forrester family, her clipboard held tightly to her chest like a shield against their impending grief. The silence in the corridor becomes absolute, a terrifying vacuum that sucks the air from Ridge's lungs. Lee does not sugarcoat the reality. She does not offer false hope. She looks directly at Ridge, Steffi, and Donna and delivers a medical diagnosis that hits with the concussive force of a detonated bomb. The truth is worse than any of them could have possibly imagined. Dr. Finnegan's voice is steady, but the words she speaks are a death knell for the Forrester family's peace. She reveals the shocking, horrifying extent of Eric's injuries. The punch delivered by Will Spencer was not just a glancing blow. It was a devastating strike that caused a severe, catastrophic fractured skull. The sheer force of the impact against the hard floor of the bikini bar has cracked the foundation of the patriarch's mind. But the nightmare does not end there. Lee continues, her words slicing through the sterile air like a scalpel. Eric is suffering from a massive, life-threatening brain hemorrhage. The bleeding inside his skull is extensive, pooling and putting immense, lethal pressure on his brain. The medical team is doing everything in their power to stabilize him, but the situation is critical. Eric Forrester is hovering on the razor-thin edge between life and death. The final, crushing blow comes when Lee issues a chilling warning about the future. Even if Eric survives this catastrophic trauma, the damage is already done. Lee looks at the devastated family and states that Eric will likely suffer permanent, irreversible neurological damage. The brilliant, creative mind that revolutionized the global fashion industry might be forever altered. He may never sketch again. He may never speak with the same commanding authority. The patriarch they know and love could be lost to them forever, trapped in the devastating aftermath of a senseless act of violence. The reality of Lee's words hangs in the air, a toxic cloud of despair that suffocates the last remaining shreds of hope. The Forrester Empire has lost its king, not to a rival business, but to the violent, unchecked temper of a young Spencer heir. For a fraction of a second, there is absolute, deafening silence. Then the explosion happens. Ridge Forrester completely loses his mind. The composed, sophisticated CEO shatters into a million pieces, replaced by a primal, roaring force of vengeance. Ridge unleashes a guttural, agonizing scream that echoes down the endless hospital corridors, a sound of pure, unadulterated heartbreak and lethal fury. He slams his fists against the wall, the physical pain a desperate attempt to distract from the agonizing emotional torture tearing him apart. His father, his mentor, his hero, is lying broken in a hospital bed because of a Spencer. The decades-long blood feud between the Forresters and the Spencers has just reached its most violent, unforgivable climax. Ridge's eyes are wild, burning with a hatred so intense it threatens to consume the entire building. Ridge's grief rapidly weaponizes into a terrifying, unyielding thirst for retribution. He turns to the hallway, his voice booming with absolute, lethal certainty. He vows that Spencer will pay for this with his life. He will not just be fired. Ridge roars, the veins in his neck bulging with rage. He will rot in prison for the rest of his miserable life. Ridge is declaring open, unrestricted warfare. There will be no mercy, no settlements, no apologies accepted. He will use every ounce of his wealth, his power, and his influence to ensure that Spencer is destroyed. The young man who dared to strike the Forrester patriarch will be hunted down and locked away in a cage. Ridge's vow is a blood oath, a promise of absolute destruction that will tear Los Angeles apart. While Ridge explodes into a fiery inferno of rage, Steffi Forrester Finnegan transforms into something far more dangerous. Pure, freezing ice. She does not scream. She does not thrash against the walls. Steffi stands perfectly still, her posture rigid, her eyes narrowed into sharp, lethal daggers. The grief is there, buried deep beneath a titanium armor of calculated vengeance. Steffi is the co-CEO of Forrester Creations. She is the fierce, uncompromising protector of her family's legacy. She processes Lee's devastating diagnosis with the cold, ruthless efficiency of a military general planning a lethal strike. Spencer has crossed a line that can never be uncrossed. He has attacked the heart of her family, and Steffi is going to make sure he is entirely eradicated from their world. Without shedding a single tear, Steffi pulls out her phone. Her movements are precise, sharp, and terrifyingly calm. She bypasses the family drama and goes straight for the jugular. Steffi immediately dials the Forrester family's most ruthless, high-powered attorneys. Her voice is a low, dangerous whisper that commands absolute obedience. She orders the legal team to prepare the most severe, devastating charges possible. This is not a simple bar brawl. This is aggravated assault. This is a catastrophic attack on a vulnerable senior citizen. Steffi wants the prosecutors on speed dial. She wants the police swarming Spencer's beach house before the sun comes up. She is orchestrating a legal blitzkrieg designed to strip Will of his freedom, his future, and his entire life. Steffi is going to bury him under a mountain of criminal charges, and she will not rest until she hears the prison doors slam shut behind him. As the storm of Forrester vengeance rages around her, Donna Logan Forrester completely falls apart. The devastating news of Eric's fractured skull and brain hemorrhage is the final, crushing weight that breaks her spirit. Donna realizes, with horrifying clarity, the catastrophic cost of her own actions. For weeks, she has been playing a dangerous, agonizing game of tug-of-war, caught between her fierce loyalty to her husband and her desperate love for her sister, Katie. She stayed silent while Brooke disowned Katie. She tried to navigate the toxic minefield of the family feud, hoping to keep the peace. But her silence, her hesitation, her desperate attempts to sit on the fence have indirectly fueled the raging inferno that has now consumed her husband. The overwhelming, suffocating guilt is too much for Donna to bear. Her legs give out beneath her, and she collapses onto the cold, hard linoleum floor of the hospital corridor. She lets out a heartbreaking, agonizing wail, a sound of pure, unfiltered devastation. "My honey bear," she sobs, her tears falling in a torrential downpour. Donna realizes that if she had taken a firmer stand, if she had forced the two families to de-escalate, this horrific tragedy might have been prevented. She is drowning in a sea of what-ifs and agonizing regrets. The realization that her beloved Eric might never recover, that his brilliant mind is bleeding out because of a senseless family war, shatters her heart into a million irreparable pieces. Donna is a broken woman, kneeling in the wreckage of a feud she was powerless to stop. The fallout from this catastrophic medical diagnosis is going to send a massive, destructive shockwave through the entire city of Los Angeles. Well, Spencer is currently waking up to the worst nightmare of his young life. He is no longer just a heartbroken, reckless young man dealing with a messy breakup and a toxic one-night stand with Melissa Dillon. He is now the prime suspect in a brutal, life-threatening assault. The walls are rapidly closing in on him. The Forrester legal machine, spearheaded by a ruthless Steffi and a vengeful Ridge, is coming for his head. Will's momentary lapse of control, fueled by alcohol and blind rage, has effectively ended his life as he knows it. He is facing decades behind bars, the absolute destruction of his reputation, and the horrifying reality that he might be responsible for the death of a fashion legend. And then there is Bill Spencer. The ruthless, powerful billionaire is currently oblivious to the catastrophic storm about to obliterate his world. Bill has been gloating, relishing in the media coverage of Eric's earlier meltdown, celebrating the rise of Logan Designs. But when the news breaks that his youngest son is facing severe criminal charges for nearly killing Eric Forrester, Bill's smug victory will instantly morph into a legendary, terrifying wrath. Bill will not sit idly by while the Forresters attempt to lock his son in a cage. He will unleash the full, devastating power of the Spencer empire to protect Will. The battle lines are no longer drawn in the boardroom. They are drawn in the criminal courts. Bill will weaponize his wealth, his media outlets, and his ruthless cunning to fight the Forresters tooth and nail. This catastrophic tragedy also shatters the romantic entanglements that have plagued the younger generation. Elektra Forrester is about to face the horrifying truth about the man she loves. The devastating reality that while Spencer's fists have cracked her grandfather's skull will permanently sever any lingering hopes of a romantic reconciliation. The love she felt for Will instantly curdle into horror, betrayal, and absolute disgust. Ivy Forrester's manipulative schemes to push Elektra toward RJ are no longer necessary. Will has single-handedly destroyed his own chances. Elektra will be forced to watch her family tear the man she once loved to absolute shreds, a traumatic ordeal that will leave her emotionally scarred for life. Meanwhile, Melissa Dillon's toxic, opportunistic gloating is about to backfire in the most spectacular, devastating way possible. Dillon thought she had secured a massive victory by sleeping with Will and throwing it in Elektra's face. She thought she had conquered the Spencer heir. But now, she is tethered to a man facing severe felony charges. Her smug, Luna-esque manipulation will be entirely overshadowed by the terrifying reality of police investigations, criminal trials, and the wrath of the Forster family. Dylan has tied her wagon to a sinking ship, and the impending legal and media circus will drag her down in the mud right alongside Will. Her calculated game of seduction has resulted in an absolute, unmitigated disaster. The flashing red and blue lights of the Los Angeles Police Department cruisers are already illuminating the dark streets outside the hospital, a terrifying visual confirmation that the criminal justice system has been activated. Detectives are en route, armed with notebooks and a mandate to arrest the Spencer heir. The sterile hospital environment is about to be invaded by badges and handcuffs, transforming Eric's medical tragedy into a high-profile, sensational crime scene. Steffi's calculated legal strike has set the wheels of justice spinning at breakneck speed. There will be no quiet cover-up, no wealthy family settlement behind closed doors. The Forresters want Will paraded in front of the cameras in shackles. They want the world to see the violent, reckless monster that Bill Spencer raised. The impending arrest will be a media spectacle of epic proportions, a brutal, public execution of the Spencer family's reputation. Will's drunken mistake has armed his enemies with the ultimate weapon, and they're preparing to pull the trigger without a single ounce of mercy. As Dr. Lee Finnegan returns to the ICU to desperately monitor Eric's fading vital signs, the Forrester family prepares for the absolute worst. The monitors continue their terrifying, rhythmic beeping, a constant, agonizing reminder of the fragile thread keeping Eric tied to this world. Ridge refuses to leave the hallway, his eyes burning with a lethal promise of retribution. Steffi continues to coordinate the legal strike, her voice cold, hard, and unforgiving. Donna remains crumpled on the floor, drowning in a toxic ocean of guilt and despair. The hospital corridor has become a war room, the staging ground for the most brutal, devastating conflict in the history of Los Angeles. This is the ultimate, catastrophic climax of the Forrester and Spencer rivalry. The gloves are off. The corporate espionage, the stolen designs, the runway showdowns, they're all meaningless now. This is a fight for blood, a fight for justice, and a desperate, agonizing fight for survival. Well, Spencer has ignited a powder keg that will blow both families to absolute pieces. The authorities are moving in. The lawyers are drafting the charges. The media is about to descend like a pack of ravenous wolves. The golden era of Forrester Creations is hanging by a single, fraying thread, threatened by the severe brain hemorrhage bleeding out inside their patriarch skull. Will Eric survive this catastrophic injury, or will Spencer face murder charges? Drop your boldest theories in the comments below, hit that subscribe button, and stay tuned for the fallout. Next, the impending destruction of the Forrester patriarch's marriage is no longer a whisper in the wind. It is an inevitable collision of fate and high-stakes consequences. When Eric Forrester sat in front of a live camera and unleashed a venomous, unhinged rant against Katie Logan, he did not just declare war on a rival fashion house. He lit a match and tossed it directly on his own marriage. The fallout from this cataclysmic live stream is about to shatter the walls of the Forrester mansion, and the casualty no one saw coming is Donna Logan. The ultimate peacemaker is about to become the ultimate defector, and the shockwaves will obliterate the Forrester empire from the inside out. Let's set the stage for this spectacular implosion. Eric Forrester's highly anticipated Couture launch interview was supposed to be a triumphant return to the spotlight. Instead, it devolved into a viral, red-faced temper tantrum. He branded Katie Logan a tacky thief. He screamed that Logan Designs was stealing Forrester's thunder. He completely lost his composure on a live broadcast, forcing a horrified Ridge Forrester to physically drag him away from the microphone. The damage was instantaneous, brutal, and entirely self-inflicted. But while Bill Spencer gleefully counted the free publicity and the internet churned out mocking memes, Donna Logan sat in the Forrester estate, watching her husband humiliate her sister in front of millions. The sheer, unadulterated hypocrisy of Eric's meltdown is what pushes Donna over the edge. Let us not forget the absolute truth of this fashion war. Eric Forster is the one who originally defected to Logan. When Ridge unceremoniously forced his father into retirement, it was Katie who offered Eric a lifeline. It was Katie who gave him a platform. And it was Donna who covered for Eric, lying to her own family to protect his secret alliance with Logan. Eric happily took Katie's money and support, only to abandon her the second Ridge snapped his fingers. Now, he has the audacity to publicly crucify Katie for launching her own brand? Donna is realizing that the man she married is not a victim. He is an arrogant hypocrite who demands absolute loyalty but offers none in return. For months, Donna has played the dutiful, supportive wife. She stood by Eric through his terrifying health crisis, nursing him back to health, offering endless encouragement, and acting as his personal cheerleader. But as she processes the vitriol he spewed at Katie, a sickening realization washes over her. Eric does not view her as an equal partner in this marriage. He treats her as an afterthought, a beautiful accessory meant to pour his martinis, smile at his parties, and stroke his fragile ego. He never consulted her before launching a public smear campaign against her own flesh and blood. He simply expected her to fall in line, just like the rest of his employees. Donna is finally waking up to the harsh reality that she is nothing more than a trophy wife to a man who respects his legacy far more than his vows. This impending betrayal is magnified by the feral, unhinged behavior of Brooke Logan. Brooke has completely lost her grip on reality, choosing to violently attack Katie rather than support her. Brooke slapped Katie across the face with enough force to leave a mark, and weeks later, she picked up a heavy velvet box and hurled it directly at Katie's head, shattering a display screen into pieces. Brooke has firmly aligned herself with Ridge and the Forster machine, proving that she will always choose her husband over her sisters. But Donna does not operate that way. Donna has always been the glue holding the Logan family together. She is the peacemaker, the mediator, the one who desperately tries to keep the peace. But watching Brooke physically assault Katie and Eric verbally assassinate her is a bridge too far. The tension inside the Forster mansion is about to reach a boiling point. Eric is currently nursing a bruised ego and a physically bruised jaw, courtesy of Will Spencer's accidental punch at the bikini bar. When Eric returns home, battered and humiliated by the viral memes mocking his live stream, he will expect Donna to coddle him. He will expect her to validate his anger, to tell him that he was right to blast Katie, and to soothe his wounded pride. Instead, he's going to walk into a wall of absolute ice. Donna is done playing the sweet, compliant honey bear. She is preparing to unleash a fury that Eric has never seen from her, and it will shake him to his core. The confrontation between husband and wife will be a masterclass in high-stakes soap opera drama. Donna will not mince words. She will demand to know how Eric could stand in front of the world and tear down the woman who gave him a sanctuary when his own son threw him away. She will throw his hypocrisy right back in his face, reminding him that he designed for Logan first. Eric, blinded by his own arrogance and desperate to regain control of the narrative, will inevitably double down. He will demand Donna's loyalty. He will insist that as a Forster wife, she must stand against the Spencers and the Logans. He will order her to choose between her marriage and her sister. That demand will be the fatal blow to their union. Eric expects Donna to fold, just like she always does. He expects her to prioritize the luxury and prestige of the Forster name over the messy, complicated bonds of her family. But Eric is severely underestimating the fierce loyalty of a Logan sister who has been pushed into a corner. Donna will draw a hard, unforgiving line in the sand. She will look the great Eric Forster in the eye and tell him that no man, not even a fashion legend, will ever force her to abandon her sister when she needs her the most. Blood is thicker than couture, and Donna is choosing blood over business. The immediate action that follows will be nothing short of cinematic. Donna will not shed a tear. She will not beg for understanding. She will calmly turn her back on the patriarch, walk up the grand staircase of the Forrester estate, and pack her bags. The visual of Donna Logan dragging her luggage out the front door, leaving her wedding ring sitting on a silver tray next to Eric's untouched martini, will be a defining moment in this corporate war. Eric will be left standing alone in his massive, echoing mansion, realizing entirely too late that his uncontrollable temper and massive ego just cost him the one person who truly loved him unconditionally. Across town, the atmosphere at Logan Designs is electric but tense. Bill Spencer is gleefully soaking in a massive wave of public support generated by Eric's disastrous interview. He is weaponizing the viral memes and plotting his next ruthless attack against Ridge. Katie, however, is carrying the heavy emotional burden of her family's fracture. She is bracing herself for another violent attack from Brooke or another legal threat from the Forresters. But when the elevator doors open at the Logan offices, it will not be an enemy stepping out. It will be Donna, bags in hand, ready to pledge her absolute allegiance to her sister. Donna's arrival at Logan Designs is the twist no one at Forrester Creations saw coming. She will walk into Katie's office, wrap her sister in a fierce embrace, and declare that she is officially done with Eric Forrester. But Donna is not just looking for a place to crash. She is looking for a place to fight. She will offer her services to Logan Designs, bringing with her an intimate knowledge of Eric's upcoming couture line, his creative weaknesses, and the internal panic currently gripping the Forrester executive suite. Donna's defection instantly transforms her from a passive observer into a highly valuable corporate asset. The power dynamics in Los Angeles will shift violently the moment Donna signs on with Logan. Bill Spencer will be absolutely thrilled. He already recruited Will Spencer after RJ got him fired, and now he has another Logan sister in his arsenal. Bill will immediately recognize the PR goldmine of Eric's own wife abandoning him to join the fashion house he just publicly blasted. Bill will want to parade Donna in front of the fashion press, using her defection as the ultimate proof that Forrester Creations is a toxic, sinking ship led by an unhinged, out-of-touch patriarch. Back at Forrester Creations, the news of Donna's departure will hit like a localized earthquake. Ridge and Steffi are already scrambling to manage the catastrophic PR crisis caused by Eric's livestream. They are already bleeding talent, having lost Hope Logan to Katie's upstart label. Now, they have lost the patriarch's wife. Ridge will be furious, viewing Donna's exit as the ultimate betrayal. He will likely blame Katie and Bill for brainwashing her, completely ignoring the fact that Eric's own toxic behavior drove her away. Steffi will see this as another aggressive attack on her family's legacy and will push Ridge to retaliate with maximum force. The most volatile reaction, however, will come from Brooke. When Brooke learns that Donna has abandoned Eric to join forces with Katie, her feral rage will reach new heights. Brooke is desperately trying to cling to her fantasy of a united Forrester-Logan empire, even as she physically assaults her own sister to protect it. Donna siding with Katie destroys Brooke's narrative that Katie is the sole aggressor in this war. Brooke will undoubtedly march over to Logan Designs to confront Donna, leading to an explosive, three-way sisterly showdown where decades of resentment, jealousy, and betrayal will finally be dragged into the unforgiving light. Picture the scene: Brooke storming into the Logan showroom, demanding that Donna return to her husband and stop this foolish rebellion. But Donna will not back down. She will step between Brooke and Katie, serving as a physical shield against Brooke's violent tendencies. Donna will call out Brooke's hypocrisy, reminding her that Brooke has always expected her sisters to sacrifice their own happiness for the sake of Brooke's relationship with Ridge. Donna will declare that the era of Brooke dictating the Logan family dynamics is officially over. The Logan sisters are now permanently fractured, with Brooke standing alone on the Forrester side of the battlefield. Donna's role at Logan Designs will be pivotal. She knows Eric's designs better than anyone. She knows his inspirations, his fabric choices, and his pacing. While Katie handles the business and Bill handles the ruthless PR attacks, Donna can provide the strategic insight needed to ensure Hope's new collection completely overshadows Eric's upcoming couture launch. Donna will actively work to dismantle the very collection she watched Eric sketch in their living room. It is a poetic, devastating form of revenge from a woman who was treated as a silent accessory for far too long. As for Eric, the loss of Donna will accelerate his downward spiral. His ego is already fragile after the live stream disaster and the physical humiliation at the bikini bar. Without Donna there to ground him, to remind him to take his medication, and to stroke his pride, Eric will become increasingly erratic and desperate. He will push Ridge and Steffi to take extreme, potentially illegal measures to destroy Logan Designs, desperate to prove that he is still the undisputed king of Los Angeles fashion. But every aggressive move he makes will only validate Donna's decision to leave him. The upcoming fashion showdown is no longer just a battle for market share. It is a deeply personal, blood-soaked vendetta. The runway will become a war zone where marriages are broken, sisters are estranged, and legacies are burned to the ground. Eric Forrester thought he could publicly humiliate Katie Logan without facing any consequences inside his own home. He thought his wife was a permanent fixture, bound to him by gratitude and luxury. He was catastrophically wrong. Donna Logan is stepping out of the shadows, out of the Forrester mansion, and directly onto the front lines of the greatest corporate war this city has ever seen. She's trading her role as a trophy wife for a seat at the War Council. The Forresters are about to learn a very painful lesson. You can push a peacemaker for years, but when they finally snap, they will tear down your empire with a smile on their face. The collision is here, the casualties are mounting, and the House of Logan is only getting stronger. Will Donna's explosive defection permanently destroy Eric's empire? Or will the Forresters exact a brutal revenge? Drop your boldest theories in the comments below and subscribe for more updates.